after lunch. And before we start with the second block and with a very young and handsome Czech guy who is also who also happens to be Swedish as well, to all young students who are chasing their credits. So whoever here studies architecture here and is still here, there at the beginning, at the registration, you may get some credits. This was just the mandatory thing that I needed to tell you. And still we are just waiting for some people coming from a little break, and we are continuing in our awesome convention. We are getting wiser, and we are even get more or wiser. And please put down your questions, because as we already said, we have a competition, and within this competition we will have a debate and discussion, and within this debate you will be able to ask your questions, and Angelika is already looking forward to all the questions about, please can you repeat the data about percentages and this and that percentage. So if there are all of us, and there are not all of us, but the time is up. And my friend once wrote poetry that the time has gone wild as a wild Mustang, and it just went away. And with this, I would like to welcome the next presenting person or presenting speaker, Martin Vysoký, who is Czech and Swedish as well. And his Master of Science, and he went to study there within his Erasmus program, and he stayed there. And your topic is blue, green, grey, and infrastructure in the cities. So the floor is yours. Yeah, that's true. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for the possibility and the opportunity to be here with you. And what we have been innovating in Sweden and Europe is blue, green, grey systems. Blue, standing for the water, green, for vegetation, and grey for reinforced surfaces for transportation. So my speech will be about how to integrate these functions within one common space. As you've already noticed at the beginning, we are facing a couple of big challenges as a society. And we need to take care of the pollution in our waters if we want to align with the European directive on waters. We want to reduce the flow of the rainwater, and we also want to increase the retention of the rainfall so that we reduce the risk of flooding in our cities. We also want to reduce the warming in our cities or overheating. We want to work with the vegetation so that it enables us to get all the systemic services that we can get from it. So how to do it in the space with lots of rainforest surfaces. And as we've already heard at the beginning from Jan, another challenge is how to adapt, how to reduce the carbon footprint, because even though we reduce it, we will keep reducing some carbon footprint, and how to optimize the selection of material and also the volume of the material so that the carbon footprint is the lowest possible, and so that we create buildings that can reduce CO2 by having the vegetation such as trees. So let's get going with the first challenge. What to do with the pollution of rainwater. We work with the rainwater. We usually work with different types of rain. For example, the rains that are regular, for example, 1 year or 2 year rain. It can be also very strong rains that appear only once every 10 or 30 years, and then there are extremely strong rains. And we have blue and green constructions that are being dimensioned for these rains. Nowadays, there is no construction that would manage to be dimensioned for all these three types of boxes that you see in front of you. So we have constructions that work with purifications of the rainwater. We have the constructions that are retaining the water in case of strong rain. And then we also have constructions that can get or hold the torrential rains. And you definitely know, many of you, blue-green infrastructure. This is the topic that has been in existence for several decades, and you definitely know that there are various superficial solutions, for example, like this swales or various greenery or parks. And all these solutions need a huge space. But if you have a look at our cities, the existing cities that we need to adapt in some way, do we have any room for these solutions? Because they are already built. There is lots of infrastructure, either over or about the surface or on the surface. How to get these solutions there so these solutions are also efficient and they can address these challenges? And how can we get trees into these spaces? Because we need to get there also this ecosystem services or ecosystemic services, so not only to retain the rainwater, how to do it in such a way so that there is no such conflict, because this conflict happens when the tree doesn't have enough space for the roots and there is no room for the exchange of gases. There is no space for a condensating of the water, and that's why such an output. Or seemingly, we might have enough space for roots, but the space is not equipped so that the material worked well long term, and that's why the investment might fail. And if we have a look at the space of a regular street, we are used to the fact that for one function, we create one system or construction. We create, if we want vegetation, we create vegetation area. If we want to fulfill the function of transport, we create a reinforced surface. And if we want to take care of the rainwater, we create rainwater sewage or canalization. But if we create a special construction for every function, it will cost us a lot monetarily and also energy-wise. And still, to get this function separately will not be efficient. We need to create this functionality that is entangled in one space. So we need to think about how to do it. As it was mentioned, the quote by Albert Einstein, we cannot continue creating the spaces in the old way. We need to think differently. And we need to open our mind. And this will be the goal of the following slides, to open to new ideas. And getting back, when we were working with these challenges and opening to the questions of how to do it, we looked at the space of such street and we started to think, what is present everywhere so that we can just change the material that is already there without any significant change to the surface. And we had a look. If we look at the reinforced surfaces, the constructions for transportation, the biggest volume of material is under this construction, whereas the subbase layer that has the function of holding, of bearing the load. Usually, part of the construction is containing the fragmented stone or fractioned stone where no water can get. However, these are constructions that can bear the load, and at the same time we can work with the rainwater economy, and if we don't use any herbicides, the vegetation can grow. What is different here? What is different? What differs? The difference is that here we work with macadam and such, and then the space for water and roots can appear. And coming back to the construction of roads, of reinforced surfaces, if we put away the soft components, we create place for pores. And if you work with macadam, we have porosity between 30 and 40%, which is around 300 or 400 liters per cubic meter of this material that we can retain. So the difference is that the material can be replaced by another material, or actually by the same materials, but of a different fraction. And we are working with open subbase layer, which is something that we have been working with in Sweden for a couple of years. We are supporting these fractioned stones, and we are just enriching this with compost and biochar. How you can see it on the picture, and when this has been applied at this place of trees, you can see that the tree was not really nourished, was not really healthy. With this attitude and approach, the tree started to regenerate itself, because we have created the space for the trees, and at the same time we have a long-term solution that is also sustainable for the trees. And we can also see it with the new plantations. We can compare it with the old plantations that have been here for a couple of decades, because they stopped their growth in time. But if we create the conditions, and if you take care of the conditions for the trees in the substrate directly, the tree grows further, and it also offers ecosystemic services. And we can see that the tree is already 10 years old, and the other one is from 80s, and you can see the difference in investment. So this is also the principle of how we work. We work with this roughly fractioned stones. We use the open subbase layer. We create a trench or a groove, and in this groove there is a space for the water and also for the roots, and we can put all constructions there that we are used to work with. For example, we have garden bed or rain bed, vegetation area or rainforest area, but we have already the base, the foundation of the gross fractioned stones, and this is way how we can influence its attributes. And this is also material that architects and the construction work companies are used to work with. And so this is where we are putting it within our system. We are still working with structural substrate. You can see the black color. We are still working with the components of the compost and biochar, but we are working with it in a more conscious manner. And you will see a video here where you can see how we are managing the rainwater. So if we have a regular rain, the rainwater firstly goes to this rain bed, and we have some retention capacity for the rainwater so that it can be held there. This is already something we are used to. But if we have some stronger rains, like once every 30 years, for these we have to have additional space. And if this bed gets full, it can go into this opening. And here is where the space is being created and the space is being utilized. And if this is full, then we have a security outflow where the water can continue to flow. Usually the system is empty within 24 hours, which happens thanks to this security output. But we also have some regulator here that regulates the emptying out of the system in a slow manner so that it's not overloading the sewage system. So the conditions are usually limiting, and that's why we combine water management system with the elements of blue-green infrastructure. Also, the roots of the trees always need to have the access to oxygen. And this is what happens here, because the water pushes out the carbon dioxide, and that's how the trees get to their roots. To the oxygen, and they can grow. And these are some examples of our executed systems, blue-green-gray systems. So these are rainwater beds, and underneath there is underground groove where the excess of water can be utilized and can be put or sent directed towards the roots of the plants. And this is what is it about. We need to use it efficiently. I was talking about technicalities, which are important, but what we also do is that we create a public space that is safer, that is more beautiful. So the car comes, the car slows down because there is kindergarten, because this is also the idea. That's why we put the beds here in this zigzag way. We work with diverse vegetation. You can see various trees which also creates a specific aesthetics during the season. So it's not always our goal to deal with technical challenges, but it is about creation of beautiful spaces that can communicate with the people so that there is some added value. So that it is not only about creation of technical element. And these challenges are I think not only of Sweden, but of course other countries. We started to cooperate with Prague. They have created the conditions for the construction of these systems. We contributed to that with our knowledge and experience. Here we see a historical part of Prague. It's Smetanovo nábřeží. But we also have other challenges. For example, the opinions of history experts or experts in history. You can see the long line of open Subbase, where you can see the 3 trenches. And we are taking the water, heading or directing the water through these grooves directly into the trenches, and it's being absorbed by the underground groove that is under the under the trenches, under the tree trench, or aligned with the line of trees. My input is just a teaser. for the topic. We are going to talk about it again on Thursday in Bratislava. So we are welcome if you wanted to get to know more and more in depth about these topics. You can register here on the portal, and if you are already interested in more information on this approach, we already have some guidelines that we have created for the city of for the cities of Sweden, and we know that we need to spread this knowledge out among other experts so that we can continue to draft new ideas. And thereby, thank you very much for your attention. I expected some also shouts. Martin Vysoký, nice person. That's how you do marketing. You've learned something in the Nordic countries.